Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. This is a book haul. I didn't mean to buy so many books in May and up to June, but I did. I got a bit carried away because my partner and I went charity book shopping, which isn't something we've done in a while, and I actually found loads of books that were on my Amazon wish list for really cheap in the charity shops. So I'm really happy that he suggested that we do this. I also have some books that I got as gifts that I just bought anyway, and some that were on sale, a couple from the publisher. Let's just get on with this book haul because it's huge. I think I have at least 20 books here to show you. I'm laughing, but I'm not actually embarrassed. It's fine. It's not a problem. So the first two books are ones that I got from the publishers. The first one was in exchange for an honest review, and that is Private Label. I've actually already read this one. I got it from Harper 360. This is out in the US in May and in the UK in July, I believe. So I'm actually further ahead with my reading than I thought I would be. This is about it's told in dual perspectives. So there's a young woman, a young girl called Serene, and a young boy called Lian. He is Chinese, like actually from Beijing, and she is American Chinese, and she doesn't really know much about her background, ancestry or culture. Her mother is diagnosed with cancer, so trigger warnings for cancer diagnosis, severe illness, terminal illness, parental illness. Serene, the main character, is trying to find her dad, but also figure out what's going to happen to her mother's successful fashion company, because it's kind of like an empire that she has built herself, and Serene doesn't want to lose that. I really enjoyed this one. I haven't actually rated it yet. I'm thinking 3.5 to 4 stars. I read it in just a few hours. It was a really easy read. It was really cute. I didn't love the focus on the romance. I don't think they really had any chemistry or spark, but I really enjoyed the conversations about immigration and like Serene growing up in the US and not knowing much about her background, and not only her background but not knowing any of her Chinese family. That was very interesting, and seeing the main characters navigate through all of this was really intriguing and fun to read. So I've read this one already, go me. The next one I got from a publisher was actually as part of a giveaway, so they haven't asked me to review this, and that's good because I haven't read it yet. That is Elizabeth of York, The Last White Rose by Alison Weir. Alison Weir has written books about the 6 queens or 6 wives of Henry VIII, and I want to read that series first before I read this. So I'm not going to be getting to this for a while because her 6 queens series is chunky. I've really been in the mood for some Tudor history since I went to see 6 in the theatre. I've seen it twice now. It's absolutely incredible. Would highly recommend. If you haven't seen it already, please do. It's coming to my town soon, and I'm hoping to go for a 3rd time and reignite my obsession that comes about every few months in regards to this show. But yeah, this is obviously about Elizabeth of York. Elizabeth of York married Henry VII, who was obviously Henry VIII's dad. I don't say obviously as though like everyone knows Tudor history. It's obvious to me. And I don't really know much about Elizabeth or her family or Henry VII, so I'm looking forward to reading this one at some point soon. I also bought a couple of books that were on sale just because I've already read them. I read them as ebooks. They were on sale, so I want them as part of my collection. The first one is One by One by Ruth Ware. I've read this already. I gave it 4 stars, I think. I've done a full review of it on my channel if you want to go and check that out. This one is an adult thriller. It's set in the Alps, I think. Yes, in the Alps, in a ski resort. And all these characters are together for a business retreat, and one of them is potentially a murderer. This one is so atmospheric. This probably has my favourite settings out of all of Ruth Ware's books. It's really quite chilling, the setting and the book itself, and I love the isolation of it all. I love that there was an avalanche at one point, because that's part of the reason why I don't want to go skiing. Not only because I don't want to seem like a posh, no, I can't say that on YouTube, but also because avalanches are scary, and being stuck under the snow and isolated like that is terrifying, and that's why this one scared me quite a bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I would recommend checking it out if you are interested in thrillers. I also bought The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really enjoyed this one as well. It's my 2nd favourite Taylor Jenkins Reid book so far. Everyone knows what this is about, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's about Evelyn Hugo and her life through her 7 marriages. It's got old Hollywood vibes. It's really good, and I can't wait to reread this one actually quite soon, I hope. 2 more books that I bought weren't on sale. They just caught my eye and I wanted to get them. They're quite similar actually. The first one is A History of Ancient Britain, which is published by the BBC, or it's got a BBC thing here, so it's probably like as read on the BBC or something. And this is literally talking about the history of ancient Britain, and I think different sort of artifacts found around the British Isles and kind of what went on in the olden times, I think. It says here that the author uses archaeological artifacts, geography and psychology to weave colour and humanity into the history of the ancient Britons. I haven't really read much about ancient British history, even though I say that I love ancient history. It tends to be in regards to Rome or Greece or Egypt, so I really wanted to read something about my own island, I guess. Similarly, I picked up Ancestors by Professor Alice Roberts, and this one is the prehistory of Britain in 7 burials, says the tagline, and it basically talks about ancient remains that were found in or around Britain and what they can tell us. I've started this one already. It's quite dense, but I've read 60 pages so far and I'm hoping to finish it in May. I'm recording this on the 29th, so I've got a couple of days left. If not, it will roll over into June, but it's very, very interesting so far. My friend Justine also sent me Dead Rich because it's not really a genre that she reads. She reads primarily fantasy, and this is a crime book set on a cruise ship or a yacht I think. It's very topical at the moment because I believe the owner of the yacht is Russian. I just wanted to read something set somewhere hot and an isolated mystery, and I think this is what this is, so I'm looking forward to reading it at some point soon. My partner's parents went to Spain recently and they got me a gift because I've been after this for ages. We weren't able to go to Barcelona with them, unfortunately. I asked them to pick this up for me and they did, and I'm so grateful, and that is the Spanish edition of the Song of Achilles, because look how stunning this is. It's absolutely beautiful. I saw this online and I have to admit the online photos made this look more kind of brighter golden than it actually is, but nevertheless this is honestly one of the most beautiful editions I've ever read. I want to get Cersei in the same edition as well. This is what it looks like inside. It's absolutely beautiful, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Amber, hablas español? The answer to that is no, a little bit, not very much. I did used to be able to read in Spanish really quite well, but I feel like I need to brush up on the basics before I launch into this. So this is purely for aesthetic purposes at the moment, until I have practiced more and reminded myself how to speak the language. But I would like to read this one day, but for now it's just going to look really, really pretty on my shelf. And the final book that's not from the charity shop, which it's a whole pile there, do not worry, there is more, is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas, to go with this collection that I have here. I used to own these as paperbacks because that was all that was available in the UK, but recently Waterstones and Blackwell's have started selling these hardback editions. I just think they look nicer. I may regret this because I need to do a full reread of the series and actually finish it off, because I've only read up to and including Queen of Shadows at the moment, and I read that when it came out in like 2015 before my YouTube break, and I haven't read anything in this series since. So I do want to do a reread and then continue on with the series, so I may end up unhauling all of these, but for now I'm supporting bookshops, aren't I? So it's fine. This is the second book in the Throne of Glass series, in case you don't know what I'm talking about at all. It's about an assassin and fairies. Okay, and then we have my charity book haul. I'm just going to quickly add up the total amount that this came to because I'm quite impressed. So I got all of these for £12.50, which is about, I don't know, $16. So yeah, I'm very pleased with myself. I'm really impressed that the people of my town read the same books that I do. It makes me very pleased and happy. First of all, I got Love in the Time of Cholera. So as you may or may not know, I have a map which shows where my books that I'm reading are set. I create a new one every year, and every year I struggle to read books or find books that are set in South America. So when I saw this one in the charity shop, I decided to pick it up because it's been on my wish list for ages. It's a very, very popular book and it's not too long. It's under 400 pages and the font is a decent size. So I'm hoping I'm going to like it. I also want to read 100 Years of Solitude, also by this author, but that's gonna have to wait because I could only find this one in the charity shop, and I think that one's also a bit longer than this and seems more intimidating, at least to me. I also picked up, which you've already seen in a TBR video, For the Wolf. The sequel to this one is coming out very soon, so I was very, very pleased when I found this in the charity shop, especially because it was already on my Amazon wish list for like £8 I think, and I got it for £2. So I'm quite impressed with this find. I'm really, really pleased. It does have a little bit of water damage, or like something has gone a bit yellow on the first couple of pages, but after that it's absolutely fine. People seem to love this one. It's a Red Riding Hood retelling. The main character is meant to be sacrificed to the wolf of the woods, and it turns out that he's just a man, and I think she gets to know him and sort of unleashes her powers or something. So looking forward to reading that one very soon. I also picked up River Kings. This is a historical book about Vikings, and I've had my eye on it for a little while now. It hasn't been top of my wish list or anything, but since I found it for £1 I decided to pick it up. It says that it's a major reassessment and a thrilling investigative story revealing both the world of the Vikings and the cutting edge forensic methods we use to understand them. But yeah, it talks about the Vikings from Scandinavia to the Silk Road, so I'm looking forward to reading that one at some point when I'm next in the mood for some historical non-fiction. I also found The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, which I have already started. I've read one chapter and it's a very, very easy read so far, so I'm very pleased. This one is about Nina Hill, who works in a bookshop. I think it's in California, I'm fairly sure. I don't really know much about this one, just that it's contemporary, and I think Nina inherits a load of money from a family member that she didn't know existed, and then she probably gets to know a guy and romance ensues. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. I'm probably going to have read it by the time this video goes up, so I may have already spoken about it somewhere, so hopefully I like it. I picked up The Windsor Knot. This is the first in a series called Her Majesty the Queen Investigates, and it's basically about the Queen, like the Queen of England, solving a murder. And I'm not a massive fan of the royal family, I'm gonna be honest, but the premise of this one sounded quite funny. Also, as I'm recording this, the Jubilee is coming up in a couple of days, or a week rather, so I'm thinking I'm gonna read this over the Jubilee weekend and vlog it, because I might as well make some use out of this Jubilee weekend. Oh, two of these books were actually given to me. I'm sorry, they went from the charity shop. This one is The Coffin Path, which my friend gave to me. I don't really know much about it at all. It just sounded good and atmospheric, and she said she really enjoyed it, so I nabbed it. The next one that she gave to me is Catherine Parr, The Sixth Wife, which is by Alison Weir. This is the 6th book in the 6 Tudor Queen series. I don't own books 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. I do have book 1 out from the library, so I'm hoping to read that soon, but I got this for later use because I'm convinced I'm going to love this series. I don't know, I just think Alison Weir sounds like a really good writer and I get vibes, so I'm hoping it's going to be good. I picked up The End of the World Running Club. This one I did get from the charity shop. This one is a dystopian book, I think possibly post-apocalyptic. The world ends and the main character finds himself on the wrong end of the country, so he has to travel from one end of, I assume, the US to the other, which is quite a long way. It says here that he's 550 miles away from his family, so he must push himself to the very limit to get back to them. I'm hoping to read this one soon as well, actually. I don't know if I'll have already read it by the time you watch this video, but there's a strong possibility because it does sound really good, and it's not actually on my June TBR, which it probably should have been. The next 2 books are basically brand new and such good finds. I can't believe it. They've been on my wishlist for the longest time. I'm so lucky to have found these. The first one is Red Clocks. I don't know much about this one at all, but obviously it's a feminist story. I think it's actually dystopian, kind of like The Power and Vox. It's kind of like an American future in which women are oppressed. Celeste Ng says that she's blown away by it. It says here that America has changed. For women it has changed for the worst. Roe is desperate to become a mother, but with IVF now illegal along with abortion and other reproductive rights, parenthood looks increasingly unlikely for her. So I think it's very topical right now and I want to read it soon. Probably not in June, but probably in July, most likely. I also picked up The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. So I've checked this one out from the library so many times and then I put it on my wish list because I was like, sometimes I'm just not in the mood for something so chunky. It is quite a big book. It doesn't look like it, but it is like 600 pages. So I keep putting it off, and I actually found this for £1, no, £2 in the charity shop instead of the £8 that it is online, and I'm just so pleased with that I found this because I loved The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which was also by this author, and I want to check this one out. It's just been intimidating me, so now that I own it, I'm going to be pushed to read it soon, or I'll just have it when I'm finally in the mood for it, which again, hopefully will be soon. We will see. I'm never going to be able to get these back out. I'm really stacking these in. And then finally, the last book that I got from the charity shop is a massive hardback. I got this for £1, and that is Gulag by Anna Applebaum. This is actually the author of Red Famine, which you may have heard of from Book Community Read if you're following Jess Owens or Angela from Literature Science Alliance. And this is the author's other non-fiction book. I was actually looking for Red Famine, but I found this instead. This is obviously the history of the Soviet prison camps. Really looking forward to reading this one at some point. It probably won't be soon because I am reading a couple of books, non-fiction books about Ukraine this month in June, and so I don't really want to read another non-fiction book about Eastern Europe because I think Russia is probably going to be heavily featured in the books about Ukraine. So this one is going to have to wait until probably August, I think, until I do get to it. So that is my massive book haul. I'm really pleased with all of these. I did actually break my book buying ban or restriction because I'm only trying to purchase 1 book a week or 52 books this year. That's not going so well. I'm pretty sure I'm nearing 50 now, but it's fine. I have read 41% of the books that I have bought so far this year. So I am getting through them quite close to the time that I'm purchasing them, which was one of my goals. I'm going to be talking about this more in another Zero TBR update video, probably next month or the month after, just to check in so I can tell you guys how I'm doing. I want to make a little bit more progress before I do talk to you about it because otherwise I'm going to be so embarrassed. But yeah, this is my May and June book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought of them. Let me know which ones you think I should prioritise if I haven't read them already. If you want me to do a review on any of these in particular, then let me know and I will do that. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram and on my new blog. I will leave links to all of those down below. Thank you so much for watching this video and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye!